Alright, welcome to the video. This video is called How Well Can My Delta 3 Plus Handle My Air Conditioner? Because it is now being powered off of the Delta 3 Plus. There is no power outage at the moment, but I'm doing a test. Got 87% charge. The sun is strong today, so I want to do this test. That way I can get plenty of solar power later. Right now we've got 57 watts going out just to run the fan. When it calls for cooling, we'll see what happens. We're almost to that point. Not quite. We should be at that point soon, though. Because it's getting warm in here. Works well. So far, anyways. Alright, and then when the fan turns off, we get just a little bit of a idle consumption. Now you do have an air freshener plugged in as well. That might be part of the idle consumption, but yeah, it's pretty good. And then you can see the display has now shut off, so we won't be able to view the information until I turn the display back on. But at the moment, just waiting for it to call for cooling, which it should do soon. That's one other thing we can do right now. So we can see how much the display takes in terms of power, because right now we have around 2 to 3 watts being drawn. Now, if I go to the remote here and press the display button to turn the display off, you can see that the change in power is nothing, because the display doesn't really do anything in terms of power draw. So there really is no point to turning the display off. In fact, if anything, it seems like it consumes a little bit less with the display turned on, because it fluctuates between 2 and 3, and then it would just stayed at 3 when I turned it off. But regardless, the display has no effect in the power draw of my AC unit. So, unless you just don't want lights at night to keep you awake, there's no point to turning it off. It doesn't save you anything. It would just be best to keep the display turned on, because there's a bunch of indicator lights that way you know what your AC is doing, and when you have to clean the filter, and what the temperature is set to and all that. So, yeah, it is pointless to have the display turned off. That has now been proven. Still waiting for it to call for cooling, and then we will see what happens when it does. And, judging by the temperature of this room, it should soon. Well, I've pulled up the weather, and that is what we're looking at for the weather today. That's kind of disappointing. It's not going to be hot. So, yeah, a little bit of a disappointment with the outdoor conditions, but great day for solar, which I want to do after this calls for cooling, but now I'm not sure if it will, because the outdoor temperature is cooler than I want it to be. If it was hot, then we'd be calling for cooling, but it isn't. It's cooler out. So in a case like this, what we could do is we could turn the temperature down to make it call for cooling, since it doesn't seem like it's going to go up. So if I press this to change the set point, it will engage the AC fans, which once again draws around 50 watts. I need to zoom in for you to see that. Okay, you still can't really see. But now with the temperature adjusted, the compressor has just kicked on and is drawing only 300 watts. I thought it would draw more than that, not gonna lie. Maybe once the fan speed turns up. Okay, the display just turned off again. Let me re-engage that. There, the fan speed is turned up. And that didn't actually do much of a difference. And this is running normally too, so I don't get what the issue is here, because this is supposedly rated for 450 watts and it's only drawing 320. I don't know if it's always done that or if it's just because I'm plugged it into the EcoFlow, but based on how it isn't running any differently than it normally would, I think it's always done that. Or it could also be because it's not fighting against the temperatures today, because it's actually kind of cool out today. In any case, let's turn the temperature setting back to normal. That will not shut it off immediately, because it's already on. It doesn't shut off until it's reached a set point. It is operating as it would normally. Give me the compressor. If I zoom in on the side here, somewhere over here it does say that it was rated 4.5 amps, 115 volts. Which should theoretically be around 500 watts, somewhere around that. A little bit less than 500 watts, I'd say 470 or something like that. And my EcoFlow says 347 watts. Keep in mind that's also with this plugged in. I don't know if that's affecting it at all. If I unplug the air freshener, you notice there is no difference whatsoever. So, yeah, this isn't doing anything. 350 watts is also well within the output rating of this unit, so it's not going to be like throttling the voltage or anything, because, well, I just mentioned, you know, 350 watts well below the maximum output, which is actually 1800 continuous. So, fully capable of running my AC, and now that I know it draws less than it supposedly should, this would be a great solution for a summer power outage. It's not even taking that much power, like I've only dropped like 2 percentage points since the compressor turned on. Good to know. So yeah, that is running my AC off the grid. And my EcoFlow is doing a great job, actually. This test is a success, I deem it. Well, so far anyways. To get a true success, we gotta go till the AC shuts off. Power consumption is up a little bit now, but not really much. It's about 350 watts now. It's still 100 watts shy of where I believed that it would be, based on what the AC said it would take. But that's a good thing, because that means my AC is actually more energy efficient than advertised. And for something like this, that's good. Now we just wait till it satisfies. Oops. And once this hits 72, that's when it will satisfy. Might be a bit though. So it turned on when the unit was at 86%. Now it's down to 83%. It's not taking that much power. And let's see what the estimated runtime is. Alright. The estimated runtime right now is 2.1 hours. This isn't off of a full charge, keep that in mind. It's like 82%, so yeah, it's more like 800 something watt hours currently in the power station as opposed to the full kilowatt hour. So that's why we're getting the 2.1 estimate. But being able to run my air conditioner for 2.1, maybe closer to 2.5 hours on a full charge, not too bad. This was a good test to conduct. I think it's really interesting seeing, you know, what kind of power my AC takes from an EcoFlow. But also seeing how well it runs, because you get perfectly clean power out of these power stations. They run brilliantly. You can recharge them from the sun. I've been actually doing that all summer for both of my EcoFlow units. And with that, I was actually able to keep my phone, my radios, and other stuff charged without using grid power for pretty much the entire summer. And that's a wonderful thing. Starting to switch over to using solar energy in this manner. And it's my own solar energy that I produced myself by taking power stations outside, charging them with my solar panel. So I'm getting the energy myself and I'm using that energy. Alright. As you can see, as the AC is running, the power output of the power station, or however much the AC is drawing, is slowly rising, but it is still below where I thought it would be. And since it is a compressor that started up, I would have expected there to also be a spike maybe around 800 watts initially, but this is still a lot lower than I thought it would be in terms of power output. In the EcoFlow app, we can check on what the unit is doing. Let's see, it says discharging 80%, output 375 watts. it's not going to be perfectly steady. And the wattage will fluctuate a little bit. But you can see it is from the AC outlets. And if you click on this here, the time estimate, you can also see the battery temperature, which is right now 82 degrees. It's not that bad. So, here's that. Looks like the app might be a little bit, delayed in gathering the information, because well, it says 80% in the app. It says 79 on the, EcoFlow itself. Unless they, round differently, which that could be the case. So I noticed with my River 2 Max, when charging that out in the sun, it actually would show decimal points. I think you've seen that before, maybe. And on the power station, it would round it up if it's 0.5 or higher, and round it down otherwise. So I don't know if this app is strictly rounding up, and then the on the unit itself it's doing the same thing that the River 2 Max was doing. I'm not entirely sure, but this does show a slightly different number than my EcoFlow does. It just went down to 79% in the app, and it's 78 on the Delta 3 Plus. And the power draw now is up to 378 watts. Almost 380. Now it's 380. It started at like 320 or something. It started like 40-50 watts lower than this, and now it has come up to this point. So the power draw on my AC has been slowly rising as it's been running. Kind of interesting. I'm not entirely sure why it's doing that, but it's doing that. And given that this is just a binary state compressor, you know, it's either on or off, I'm not entirely sure why the power draw varies if it's not an inverter driven compressor. And to also keep in mind, this is on a cooler day. If this was during that major heat wave we had in June, where it was 102 flipping degrees outside, then this would be running for a lot longer, and it would probably, you know, take the full 2-hour runtime in my Delta 3 Plus estimates, maybe minus a few percentage points or something, I don't know. And, well, that would be basically the entire battery capacity. It's used nearly 10% of the battery capacity so far on just this one run, which has been only for like 15 minutes so far. Maybe a little bit less than that. I wasn't actually timing it. And, well, it was actually not doing too bad, you know. Down to 73 on the remote. As this hits 72, the AC will prepare to turn itself off. And then I can conclude this test. And as I have mentioned already, this has been filled up on solar energy, not from the grid. So, I am running my AC off of solar power. Let's keep the display on. This is a really interesting test to see how my AC will perform from a power station's output, rather than just plugging it into my wall over there. And knowing the capabilities of my Delta 3 Plus, well, yeah, this is good. I like where this is going. I use nowhere near all the available power I have right now. And my AC is running perfectly normal. And yeah, nothing weird happening with it or anything. It's not getting dirty power like you would get from gas generators. This is a power station that has a pure sine wave output. And perfectly safe to run sensitive electronic equipment with, or anything that really depends on having a perfect 60 Hertz for North America and power. And well, yeah. If I did not show you where this AC is being powered from, you wouldn't even know that it's being powered off of my EcoFlow, as opposed to the grid power that's coming to this house, because it's operating exactly the same. So yeah, I'm just waiting for it to satisfy and shut off. There's a little bit of wind outside. I don't know if you can see the trees moving at all. They are moving a little bit because there's a tiny bit of wind out there. It's a bit of a windy day, but well, still a nice day to get some solar power because it's cooler out. Keeping the panel cool will actually increase its efficiency. So yeah. Once this test is concluded, I'll be taking the EcoFlow outside to charge again and seeing how much I can get from the sun today. Hopefully it will be a lot, because on good days I've gotten close to 300 watt hours from how much the sun shines in the yard during the day here in the summer. And it's not too bad. It's actually pretty good if, you know, we get hit by a major hurricane during the summer, which, well, very close call with Erin out there in the Atlantic right now. But it doesn't seem like Erin, unless something massive changes, doesn't seem like Erin is going to directly affect land. However, it has been breaking the model so far, so that is not completely out of the question, even though the forecast has it completely out to sea as of right now. So, you know, fingers crossed that it does not break the models again. But, well, just hypothetically, you know, if that were to happen, if we were to get a major storm during the summer here and power was out for days, this is a totally viable option for backup power. And I can use my solar panel to recharge it every day. Because we get a good 3-4 hours of sunlight on a good day like today, where the sun is strong. If it's not a good day and you know it's cloudy or rainy or something like that, I'm not really going to get much solar power. At best, I get like 5-10 watts with the 100 watt solar panel I have. And on a good day like today, it can be as much as 80, even 90 watts. I've had 90s before when I was doing my River 2 Max earlier in the year. I've even had 90s on this one, I think. But recently, because daylight hours are growing a bit shorter now, it's only reached 80 watts. But it's still not too bad. Alright, we're now reading 72 on the remote here. And we've got 73% left for the battery charge here. And it looks like we actually have not gone up since hitting 380 watts. It is steadying out in the 370s to 380s. Okay, fan speed has just slowed down. My air conditioner is going to shut off in a few minutes. And looks like the power draw actually went up a little bit. It's a funny thing with air conditioners. For some reason they actually draw more power on lower fan speeds when the compressor is turned on. I don't know exactly why that is, but I'm not the only one who has noticed that. Alright. You'll be able to hear when the compressor turns off from here. Now just watch the power output of the power station carefully as the compressor turns off. Right now it's 380 watts. Compressor turns off. Now we are down to 57. So running the fan only takes around 57 watts. Now we went from 86% to 72%, so like a 14% drop in the battery for a relatively short AC cycle. Alright. Not that bad, actually. This performed quite well, and I am happy with the results. I'm gonna wait for the AC to shut entirely off before I plug it back into the wall. And I can quickly power it off and then convert its power source, or switch its power source, and then run business like usual. In fact, I might just leave the AC turned off today because it's only 60-something degrees out. I just wanted to do this quick test to see how it runs off my EcoFlow. Needless to say, test successful. Now, in a winter power outage, that would be a different story because space heaters will actually consume more power because it's electric resistive heating, whereas this is a heat pump, which is way more efficient to move these same BTUs. So use these whenever possible if you're running off of a power station or a generator. That way you know you're not going to be using too much electricity unnecessarily. The air conditioner is now fully turned off, and the power output is now only 3 watts. Which means I can now conclude this test, turn it off, and unplug it. And it's now dropped to 0. So that's it. Thank you for watching. This is a pretty interesting test to do. Pretty happy with the results. And I'll see you in the next video.